Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London, and today I'm looking at an excellent 5-volume set of books on the law of taxation, revenue law. This particular title is a very detailed work. It's Taxation of Non-Residents and Foreign Domicillaries. Now in a 14th edition, there's volume 1 there, blue cover, been written and put together by James Kessler, Queen's Counsel. The publishers are Key Haven Limited. And let's have a look at the books first before I do the review. They're all basically the same front cover. There's the book itself, the spine and then the back. Each one is basically the same. That's volume 1 there. And then you've got a nice dedication there. Then you've got the actual book. Introduction and what's new. So he goes straight into the particular points, a huge amount of information. If I run all the way through, you can see how it's structured. There are some footnotes at the back for things like websites and so forth. You've got not too much information, plenty of case law, which I like as well. Then at the back, you've got a very useful index, which you can see there. Not a particularly large amount of information in the index itself. But you've got a lot of tables right at the beginning, a huge amount of stuff from HMRC, statute tables, of course, as well, and before that, the tables of cases. And the way this is structured is that you've got contents at a glance there, and after that, you then have contents in detail, which is a much more detailed way of doing it. So in many ways, it's easier to find things than actually going through back to the actual index itself. And then there's a very useful guide right at the front about obtaining further advice and a disclaimer. And he's talking specifically about the various editions that have taken place prior to this one, which is now the 14th edition. That is volume 1, and as I've indicated, volumes 2, 3, 4 and 5 are here, which are over in the corner. They look exactly the same and it's the same structure. You've got a short index at the back again, then you've got the very basic information with a certain amount of subheadings at the bottom. Then right at the front, you've again got, there's the front section there, then you've got contents at a glance and so forth. And it follows through on that basis with all 5 volumes. And it's a heavy, very, very detailed work, an extremely excellent publication for anybody involved in this area of law. And this is what we say about the book. My wife Elizabeth and I have written this review. We've given the title of our review the following: New 14th edition, the definitive reference for tax practitioners advising foreign clients living in the United Kingdom. So we start off by saying this: Taxation, No Tyranny was the pamphlet penned in about 1776 by Dr. Johnson, inveigling against the American revolutionaries, who at the time really were revolting against unfair taxation, that is. But as Benjamin Franklin, once one of America's most famous revolutionaries, observed, the only things in life that are inevitable are death and taxes. And that's why this book is so helpful, because it deals with taxes. Whether you're a tax specialist or not, you may recall the above mentioned when contemplating this monumental work which has been written by James Kessler, Queen's Counsel. And monumental it is. It focuses not on tax in general, but on only one area of taxation in particular. And over a total of 5 volumes, each approximately 800 pages long, and they're heavy books, even though they're paperbacks, the author appropriately quotes the statement from the Chancellor's budget speech in 2011 that, quote, "Our tax code has become so complex that it recently overtook India to become the longest in the world," and adds in a footnote that it is hard to empirically assess a claim that the UK has the largest tax code in the world, but there seem to be no other serious contenders for that title. What a state of affairs we've got to with this, but that's the way it is and we have to deal with it. It's become completely unwieldy and complex, And it makes a complete joke of people saying that ignorance of the law is no excuse. How you can ever understand a lot of this without having these excellent books to at least assist us is a complete joke in a modern society. But that's what we have to put up with at the moment, and I'm hoping someday we will have a much more simplified system. So, in describing the massive scope of this multi-volume text, which is now in a brand new 14th edition, as we've said, the author lists 3 interconnecting themes, each of which must be discussed in turn before discussing the next, as, yes, they're all interconnected. He refers first to the taxation of foreign domicillaries, then to that of non-residents on UK assets, and finally to the taxation of UK residents on foreign assets. And it's no wonder that in the book's introduction, the author, in characteristically clear and concise style, presents the arguments for and against a lighter tax regime for foreign domicillaries. Quote, United Kingdom firms competing globally for talent and expertise, he says, would find recruitment easier if the tax regime for foreign employees is lighter. The argument is, he adds, that the UK benefits from foreign domiciliary reliefs. Referencing Dr. Johnson, you might also argue that taxation should be, well, somewhat less tyrannous. Considering at length its length, thoroughness and complexity, this specialist examination of a complex area of taxation is remarkably accessible, we think, featuring clarity and navigability amongst its key attributes. Mighty it is, but also it is mighty easy to use. Note, for instance, what I showed you earlier, which is the contents in detail section, which is almost 45 pages long, just in volume 1, which lists in detail what each volume actually has and what each of the 93 chapters contains, so you, the reader, have some hope of finding what you're looking for. Paragraphs are numbered throughout, and the footnoting is extensive, and each volume has an index at the back, as I've shown you. Also, the typeface and layout of the design are designed, praise be, for readability. And actually, it's easy to read, and is a very, very useful book. And I must say, I'm a little surprised it's not more well known, actually, to many readers and practitioners. Primarily, then, this set of volumes is for practitioners, although the author cautions that it's not intended as a self-help guide. You will still need professionals to advise you, he says, but points out nonetheless that this work of reference is perfectly understandable for lay readers looking to explore this subject in depth with a view to taking greater control of their own tax affairs. And to this end, these volumes provide an extensive research resource, including tables of cases, statutes, statutory instruments, HMRC concessions and statements, HMRC manuals and double tax treaties. There's also a table of EU and foreign statutes and international conventions. So let me say, to conclude, it's not surprising that the journal Offshore Tax Planning Review refers to this title as the Bible of those giving tax advice to foreign clients living in the United Kingdom. For those specialising then in this area of law and tax, this is an essential purchase, and the publication date is cited as at the 31st of July 2015. I'll just show you very quickly the book again. This is just volume 1. There it is again. Then there's the spine there, and then at the back you've got a little bit of blurb. And you've got, as I say, a very short index at the back, but the main part of it is the contents in detail, which is there. And as you've got a much better idea, it shows you all the way through. It gives you each chapter number all the way through, so you can find exactly what you're looking for. And then after that, you get onto the, because it runs for a long number of pages, there are 93 chapters in total, then you get into the table of cases themselves. Then after that, you get, as I say, into the actual content. You do have paragraph numbering, which I think does help find things, and of course you've got the footnoting. I'd like to thank James Kessler anyway and Keyhaven Limited for publishing these books. They are first class and exactly what you need in this area of practice. So thank you very much, and keep your eye open for the next edition, because this is actually for the year 2015 to 16 and it's actually produced now on an annual basis, and we know where we are with the fixed term parliament, so we've got some idea in the next few years of what we're going to be needing to refer to. So thank you to all concerned. Bye bye.